Namaste and welcome. Good morning. Peace morning to everyone out there. Namaste. Namaste. And as you can see, the sun is shining through. The wind is blowing. The earth is growing. The earth is healing. The earth is holding its own space in destruction and rebirth, as we know, throughout the world. And we send our love and perhaps the intent, not only as power energy of this 5-minute morning meds with myself, Chantal, but we also invite the intent and the direction of our power energy into Mother Earth, into healing and holding her space throughout this turbulent time for her. As she holds us, she is our power. So we bring the intent of Mother Earth and our planet, our globe, our world into this space this morning. Namaste. Thank you for all who's joining me live this morning, and also if you're watching this recording as well. I have my trusty sidekick here, Likifer, hanging out with me. Yes, Rain is her name. And today we're going to be talking about power energy. And this could be a conversation that we could have for a very long time. In the past, I've actually had some workshops of energy direction, and I'm thinking of bringing it back as well. It's called Conscious Connections, and it's where we spend 5 weeks with the intent of learning how to direct our energy. And it's a beautiful workshop or course for people who are high empaths, who tend to feel that they can have a confusion of energy, of how to direct energy, of perhaps even taking on energy. And it's also for people who want to increase their energy, who feel perhaps a lack of energy. And in yoga terms, in Ayurveda, we call this ojas, O-J-A-S. And there's, ojas is, let's call it vitality or vigor. And you can actually, we have ojas inside of us, yet as we age, we have the tendency to start to decrease the amount of ojas that we are able to hold inside of us. And then as we age, you may see some people age and become lost in their minds, become frail, and become excessively weak. And that's very, very hard to watch a loved one depreciate as such. And we can actually, there you go, Rain, thank you. We can actually not reverse that process, but we can increase ojas within ourselves through lots of different systems in yoga. One of them is pranayama, asana. There's so many. So that's just kind of an insight on conscious connections and energy. We can also increase our energy by our minds, by how we direct our minds, the direction of our thoughts as well. Gossip, anger, frustration, anxiety, depression, all of those heavier energies can greatly depreciate our ojas as well. So where your mind goes makes a difference as well. How closed off or how open we are into our intuition can also increase or decrease our ojas. Our throat chakra, absolutely, because our throat chakra, Vishuddha, is our filter. So it sort of filters or doesn't filter what comes from the heart and what comes from the mind, because it's kind of held in between. I look at throat chakra as the bridge that between the heart and the mind. Okay. Okay, so to start with, we will get into our 5-minute morning meds in about 4 minutes, and we'll do a 5-minute meditation on directing our power energy. In the meantime, these cards were calling this morning and even last night. I tried to resist it and then they sort of shot out. So I'm going to actually ask the guardians of the galaxy to help guide us into our power energy this morning before we go into our 5-minute morning meds in a few minutes. Now, before I do, though, I'm going to cover my body and let's go into a little bit of clearing and grounding along with some centering. So I have some white buffalo sage here that I'm going to light for all of us. And I invite you, if you have sage at home, if you feel inclined to light it as well, please feel free to do so. And I've already called in the 4 directions, and now we're going to call in the elements. We're going to call in earth. We're going to call in water. Ooh. We're going to call in air. And we're going to call in ether as well, the elements. So we know with some of the turbulence that's happening throughout the world right now on an earthly level, that there is chaos and destruction when there is imbalance in the elements. And we also know, or may not know, that we hold all of the elements within us. So Mother Earth contains all of the elements. We have all of the elements as well because we are created from Mother Earth. However, when there is an imbalance in these elements, there is chaos. Okay? And we can possibly bring Shiva into the mix as he is the destroyer and the creator as well. So sometimes destruction does bring a rebirth and creation. And for those of you who live in Fort McMurray, we know that very well. And now throughout BC and many parts of the world as well, that there is a lot of destruction being created to stemming from the imbalance of the elements, which ultimately will bring a sense of rebirth down the road. We may not see that yet, okay, because we're still in the meat of it. However, we can still tap into the intent of balancing the elements within ourselves and with Mother Earth. Okay, so we called in the guardians, we called in the elements, and now we're going to ask how can we create, how can we cultivate, how can we grow, how can we plant and germinate harmony within ourselves to create a deeper sense of power energy. Okay? And how can we use this power energy to, oh, there you go, that's the question. Okay, so skip the last one. How can we balance the elements within and around us to create a balanced power energy force within us and around us? Good, I love it. So belly breath in and a belly breath out. Let's meditate and then we'll see what cards come up. So the cards are actually going to meditate with us. Ooh, have you ever meditated with your cards? It's quite wonderful because they pick up the resonation. Right, so we're going to set the cards there. And let's bring in a mudra today. And mudra, you can call it kind of hand yoga And we have acupressure points. So our energy runs through our system, through chi, through our nadis, through Thai yoga massage. We call it our sen lines, and acupressure or acupuncture points as well. So we bring in our hand mudra to connect all of the elements: fire, earth, water, air, and ether, which is represented by all the fingers and the thumbs. And we touch all of the fingers into the thumbs. And that's our mudra for power, because it unites. Oh, and isn't that beautiful? Because we're asking the universe, how can we balance our power energy as we balance and harmonize all of the elements within and around us? So bring your arms down, extend the arms, the palms face up, the spine is long whether you are seated, kneeling, or standing, or lying. The shoulders relax, the chest is lifted, and the head is humbled. And eyes open or eyes closed. And soften the teeth and soften the tongue. Soften any bandhas, any root locks that you may have. Jalandhar bandha, Jiva bandha, Uddiyana bandha. And even relax the feet, Padma bandha. Okay? And allow the breath, which helps deliver prana, which is part of our life force energy. Allow the breath to be delivered from the tips of your nose down into the belly. And invite a visual of this breath, this channel of prana, to be swirling around inside of Manipura from right to left. So that would be clockwise, okay? Now, relax the shoulders and bring your direction of not only breath, but bring the direction of mind, which also holds part of our power energy. Invite the mind to journey into the breath, into the direction of breath. Now, very gently breathe in and breathe down. Breathe down into Manipura, the belly, the intestines, the liquid, the fire part. And allow this breath to circulate clockwise in a spiral throughout the belly. And perhaps your spiral, perhaps you feel and envision your spiral small, and perhaps you envision your spiral big. Okay? So intention of breath coming in through the tips of the nose, down into the belly, spiraling clockwise in whatever color shows up, whether it's red, orange, purple, whatever color. Now, the color of Manipura is yellow. So imagine perhaps a sun, a spiraling sun in the belly. Begin to observe and see this spiraling sun of power energy within you. And in the center, there's a core. There's a core of that energy. Hone in. Bring that direction of breath into the belly, into that core. And begin with each breath in, grow and solidify into that core of belly, that core of energy, core of Manipura, our power energy. Now, as you expand that power energy with each breath out, begin to invite the elements, the earth, the fire, the water, the air, and the ether, circling around that spiral of power energy within your belly, and almost begin to see how it grows within you. and how it expands around you. Now, belly breath in, into the core, into your belly, into your power energy, circling clockwise, spiraling outward into all of the elements around you. And we call upon this power energy not for power energy over anything. We are accumulating the essence of this fireball inside of us as the power energy within. So even though you're radiating that power energy around you, it's the energy around you that protects you, that feeds you, that fires you up. And this is the energy that's within you, that you're expanding around you, that then you can radiate around you to share this power energy, not to overcome or to defeat or to war against. That is misuse of this power energy. We are on the other side. We are actually above powering over. So stay with your breath. And as you hear the rattle, breathe in the energy of the rattle now. And this vibration of the rattle softens the mind. And imagine the rattle cutting the cords, the sound and vibration of the rattle cutting the cords around anything that you seek power over. And as those cords are cut, if you're ready to, transfer that power over into power within. Bring it back in. Hone it in into that ball of circling power energy within you, around you. Beautiful. Now belly breath in and belly breath out. Beautiful. And when you are ready, you can release the mudra and bring the hands to heart center in Anjali Mudra, elbows out to the side, palms pressed together, thumbs press into the heart space. And here we sit and integrate and embody the vibrations of the meditation and the power energy within. So in between the power of your palms, consolidate, really bring in all of that core power energy that you have just created. And see the power over dissolving and transferring, transitioning, rebirthing into power within. And on your next breath in, belly breath in, swirl around one more time, and belly breath out. When you are ready, if your eyes are not open, please open your eyes and be present here. Thank you. That was your 5-minute morning meds. And please feel free to access at any time. I love that meditation. So maybe what I'll do is post a snippet of that meditation on sheachievestudio.com under gifted guided meds. So there's a drop down that says gifted guided meds, and there's about 4 meditations there, and I'll post that meditation as well for you to be able to access anytime through your day if you feel that you are being trembled by power over, whether you're receiving that power over by someone or something, or whether you are exuding that power over something or someone. Okay? All right, so let's do a little card pull I'm just going to get a little bit comfy. Beautiful. Okay. And these cards are going to help guide us into how we can harmonize our power energy within us to help balance the elements within us and around us. And they have also received the meditation. Oh, well. Kali shows up yet again. And I really hope that you're able to watch this through start to finish, because you'll see how we were talking about all of the intent of power, energy, and then Kali shows up to remind us. And there is Kali. Beautiful. Thank you, Kali, for sharing your space with us this morning. So Kali is a deity. Yes, Kali shows up many, many times, and we thank her. So if you think about Kali, she's the goddess of like destruction, of she works with Shiva, of dissolution and ecstasy. So we were just talking about how Mother Earth has experienced some destruction, as she always has, death and rebirth, death and rebirth, death and rebirth. Those are the two constants in life that we know. We may not like it, but it is part of the yin yang. It is part of that spiral process, that cyclical sense of life, death and life. Destruction and creation. So without destruction, there is no creation. Without creation, there is no destruction. Without death, there is no life. Without life, there is no death. It's yin and yang. It is the truth. It is ancient. It is science. It is how, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to believe in. Yin and yang are the two constants of life. Okay? All right. So ready? This is how we can balance. So I'm going to read you a little story. You draw up Kali when you are in a time of radical rebirth. She is fierce, erratic, and untamed. The part of you that you're afraid to give full control because you don't know where it will take you. And this is so cool because sometimes we have a rebuttal. Sometimes we have resistance in stepping into our power within. And when we truly are able to embody our power within, things change in our life. People drop out, people drop in. Habits drop out, habits drop in. So you can have the intent of accessing your power within, okay? Especially with that meditation. Power within is samana vayu. And our vayus are the 4 directions of our prana, okay? They're 4 subdivisions of prana. But I won't get into that because that's a whole other course and story. But just know that your power is a part of you. Just like it's the fire element, so it's part of the whole elemental equation, okay? So you want to call in power. You're ready to call in your power. Okay, so you go seek your teachers. You start reading books. You start saying no to people. You start saying yes to people. You say no to you. You say yes to you. You start to cultivate this power within. Okay, so that's very cool. However, there also has to be a capacity to be able to hold that power within. Okay? Because what can we use as a metaphor? I feel that like think of fire. Think of fire. If you have a fire pit and you have fire, that fire pit may not be able to hold the capacity of the fire that's growing. And then the fire becomes out of control, or you lose some of that fire, or the fire goes out. Either way, it depends on the situation. So think also about the capacity that you have inside of you to hold your power within if you're ready to engage in it. Okay? I'm just saying, something to think about. All right, so you may be a part of the self, because we have many different parts of self. May be afraid to give full control to your power within, because maybe you don't have the capacity right now in your life to hold that power within. So perhaps some things might have to change. Some things might have to shift for you to be able to hold and embody and exude that power within. Okay? And you're the only one who can figure that out. She will destroy, we're talking about Kali. She will destroy all disillusions and bring you face to face with your darkest shadows, not to cause you anguish, but rather from a deep place of love. So when our shadows show up, sometimes we push them away because we don't have the capacity to hold them. We're not in a space in our life to be in relationship with those shadows. However, know that you do have the capability and the accessibility with certain changes in your life to grant access to a deeper capacity to hold those shadows but beside you. Okay, not over top of you, not underneath you, not away from you, but sort of beside you. Okay, and in essence, in a sense, that's what She Achieves Studio offers, is to hold space. Like I hold space for you in She Achieves Studio, and those of you who have been in She Achieves Studio know that the experience of whether you come in for Thai yoga massage, warrior goddess circles, or whatever it is, that you feel that energy right away. So you are being held. Okay, so you can hold space for yourself, because that's what support is. And that's what solidity is. Once you grow that energy, now you need to have strength and power to hold that energy up, or else that energy falls apart. And that's like, how many lessons in our lives do we try to access power and it doesn't work? We think it does, and then it blows up in our face, right? It's like, oh, I guess that didn't work today. Better try it again tomorrow, okay? So when your shadows, it's sort of like the more you step into your power, okay, the more the shadows are going to show up. The more the teachings are going to be stronger and more all up in your face, because you gathered that capacity to hold that power within. So now it's not so much you're being challenged. You may feel that way. I know I feel that way sometimes. But it's not really a challenge. It's a lesson to be learned. Okay? So all challenges are really, in essence, lessons for us to learn, if you look at it that way. Now, you have to be willing. There's got to be a sense of willingness to understand that frequency. Now, some people are not able to understand that. And you know what? Peace out, brothers and sisters. You rock on wherever vibes you are right now, rock on. If you are willing to level up into that higher frequency, then a lot of different powers within you start to unravel, because you're ready for it. And if you're not ready for it, then they just fall away and they'll come back again. Okay? All right. She demolishes the ego that creates the boundary between you and your highest self. So destruction is not necessarily a bad thing, and it's not necessarily a good thing, because at She Achieves Studio, we really try, like I really try to move beyond good or bad. Yeah, I use that word sometimes. However, I try not to identify a lot of things as good or bad. It's just the way that frequency is in that moment. Because when you think about good or bad, it cuts. It gives us, when you think of good or bad, it's like this is good and this is bad, and that's all there is. So if we can raise our vibration up beyond good or bad, we invite a larger choice point. We create stronger capacity to hold our power within, okay? So Kali is the ecstasy experienced in an orgasm, a meditation, bold self-expression, or pushing a child out of the womb, or even the rising of Kundalini, okay? Kali comes to you in a time of deep liberation, stepping into the truer form of you. Trust the process and allow yourself to release all limitations so you can be one with the bliss that you are. So how can you be in relationship? Okay, how can you be in relationship with the destruction and with the creation equally, to understand? So Kali was the card that came up from our guidance of the Guardians of the Galaxy today, that we called in during our meditation earlier to help us understand how we can balance our power within, our power energy within versus power over, but how we can balance the elements as well. So when we're balanced in the elements, we're able to be balanced in the power energy, because the elements, as we found in our mudra today, in our meditation, brings and unites and harmonizes all of the elements. And when there is a disharmony in the elements, there is destruction and there's chaos, as we see in the world with all of the patterns that are changing, okay? Whether it's with the elements, like whether it's with, the fires and the floods and the winds, or if it's with, all of the other things, all of the other energies coming in. So just know that if you are willing, you have a choice. You have a choice to recognize that you are using your power within into power over somebody or something. And that can be a misuse of power. That can be a misdirection of power, because who likes, who likes to have someone power trip over them? Okay? And if you can imagine, if you've ever tried to take power over someone, how that felt, a power struggle. And that energy that you feel can be very rigid and sharp and jagged, okay? And that's just where that situation is in that moment. So when you're able to access your power energy within and use your energy within you, when you're in a state of calm, you can grow your capacity. So then when you're engaging in a power struggle over or from someone, you're able to access that energy and then kind of cut the cords of that situation. Whether it means changing the vibe of the situation, walking away, coming from love, cutting that person out, bringing that person in, whatever it is. There's so many variables. It depends on the situation. Okay, so do you pick up what I'm laying down on that? I think that's very, very cool. I'm just going to got a little notification there. I think that's very cool because we are all energy. We all have power. And when power is misdirected and misguided, there is destruction and there is chaos. When there is an imbalance in power and energy, there is destruction and there is chaos. We know that. When something is unbalanced, there's disharmony. Okay? So in essence, that's sort of what our talk in the 5-minute morning meds was this morning. So I will be posting this 40-minute 5-minute morning meds on She Achieves Studio Facebook and probably Instagram, I guess, if I get around to it. I'm trying. And then I will post the actual 5-minute morning meds, a condensed 5-minute morning meds, on SheAchieveStudio.com under gifted guided meds. And there's a 1-minute, a 5-minute, and a couple of longer meditations there for you to access, because I really feel that it's important that people have accessibility into a safe space in the power within, whether it's only a minute or whether it's 20 minutes. Okay, whether it's every day or whether it's just once in your lifetime. Because once you're able to access that, your brain acknowledges it. When we become aware, your brain actually starts to acknowledge it and knows that it is accessible. Now, it may be challenging to access that point in your brain to come back to that awareness and self-centeredness, as I call it, which is neither good nor bad. It's actually very empowering to be self-centered, and that's what this is all in. This is what this is all about, bringing your energy back into yourself and into your center. Because really, when we own our own power within, everything changes in our life versus having power over someone. So if you're ready and willing to step into your power within, if you want to grow your capacity to hold your power, because it can be a little bit shaky and scary, because the universe is going to call you on a lot more things when you step into your power. So it's kind of like bittersweet. It's sort of like an athame blade. You've got two edges, two sharp edges of that sword, okay? It's the yin and yang. But when you're ready for it, it's pretty amazing. And truly, that is what She Achieves Studio holds space for, is for you to step into your power within and to be able to create capacity to hold and sustain and embody and live this lifetime, gathering up, consolidating, and promoting that power within inside you. And then the beauty of that is it trickles into the rest of your life. So thank you for sharing your power energy with mine. Please check out SheAchievesStudio.com. I've got some exciting offerings coming up this fall. Shamanic Journeying, which is talk about power. Talk about power within. Shamanic Journeying. And Kundalini Kriyas. Warrior Goddess Circles coming back again. Be also holding some workshops as well, which will be Yoga Alliance CEC approved for credits if you are continuing education with Yoga Alliance. Thai Yoga Massage, which is a licensed offering, which is in studio. And because it is licensed, you can receive a receipt for your health spending account if that's applicable to you. And also Akashic Records. Okay. Now, there's going to be some prerequisites though, especially for Shamanic Journeying and Akashic Records, because they are so sacred. You will be encouraged to come into the studio and receive a 2-hour Thai yoga massage before you are able to journey further into Shamanic Journeying and Akashic Records. So if you're interested, if this resonates with you, connect with me. Check out SheAchievesStudio.com. There's meditation, there's a slideshow, there's a ton of videos, or you can book a free karma call on SheAchievesStudio.com with me, which is 30 minutes free virtual. So if you want to talk about Kali or energy or power over, power within, or ask for a little meditation for you to hold the capacity of your power within, connect for a free karma call. And as always, it's your choice to step in or step out. The choice is yours. With willingness, with awareness, with love and compassion, and never a breath before you are ready. And from my ready breath, holding capacity to hold power within, I say namaste, peace out. I love you all. Sat Nam.